This is episode 1, House of the Dragon, season 1, the Heirs of the Dragon review. In this episode, Viserys cracks the House of the Dragon, basically. It sets up everything that is to come in terms of the downfall of the Targaryens, and it's very clear to me that Viserys, although he has a good heart, is the reason. And the first domino is Queen Aemma, her death. The premiere of the House of the Dragon, it wastes no time showing us the cracks that will break House Targaryen apart. At the center of it all is King Viserys, the first, a man with a heart that desperately strives for good. And he's got a dreamer spirit. This episode shows him set in motion the downfall, though. He cuts his hand on the Iron Throne. It's symbolic. The throne itself is melted swords, sharp, dirty, and laced with danger. And in Game of Thrones lore, it rejects unfit rulers. And Viserys' infection from that cut foreshadows his eventual sickness and decline. The throne is a metaphor and reality in one, heavy with responsibility and physically lethal to the unworthy. That's Game of Thrones world building at its best. It's rich, it's symbolic, and it's very, very grounded despite the fantasy elements in the show. The tragedy of Queen Aemma, Queen Aemma Arryn, cannot be overstated. She is pushed to keep trying for a son, despite years of failed pregnancies, and in the brutal birthing scene, Viserys chooses his dream of an heir over her life. It's implied that she might die either way, but the way he handles this really reflects the poor decision making, and the systematic tragedy of Queen Aemma's job to give Viserys a son, an heir. She dies, its son dies the next day. This is the original sin of Viserys' reign, I think, in my opinion. On the surface, he isn't a tyrant. He has a solid heart. He's a dreamer. And unlike many rulers, he is not cruel for cruelty's sake. If Aemma had come to him after her first losses of her children, I think she's lost like 5 kids trying to have a... that's probably wrong. I know she lost 1 to 4. I have to double check that. But she's gone through a lot of loss in the pursuit for a son. But if she had gone to him after her early losses, or even before that, and drawn a hard boundary like she does in this episode, that this is her last try, she can't do it anymore, maybe he would have accepted a family of 3, himself, Aemma, and Rhanyra, without pushing further. He's not a monster, King Viserys. He's not like Maegor before him, and yet his flaw is that he cannot stop chasing an impossible vision, the stability of a son who will secure his legacy and heal the fractures in his house. The dream blinds him, and Aemma ultimately pays the price. Again, it's systematic. That's just what happens in this world that Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon lives within. But also personally, we see Viserys is somewhat reasonable when people come to him for requests, and Queen Aemma would definitely have an influence on him if she would have came to him and said she didn't want to have any more kids. And I think he would have said that's fine, even though he was a little bit crazy. Her death is not an accident of childbirth. It is the direct consequence of Viserys' choice and of the system that crowns men while dismissing women's suffering. He burdens her with his longing for a male heir, even as she tells him, "This will be my last child, Viserys. I won't endure it again." She is right, but he doesn't listen. By placing the dream of a son above the reality of a wife he loves, he sacrifices the very balance that might have saved his house. If Aemma had lived, imagine the difference. Her wisdom steadying Rhanyra, her partnership tempering Viserys' indecision, her presence preventing Otto and Alicent from tightening their claws around the throne. Instead, her absence fractures the family. Viserys keeps searching for the stability he lost with her, but he never recovers it. In that sense, Aemma's loss isn't just personal, it's very political. It's the first domino in the collapse of the Targaryen dynasty. From this death springs every fracture. Rhaenyra and Alicent's rivalry, Daemon's resentment, Otto's scheming, and Viserys' desperate failed attempts to hold a family together. The heir for a day dies and the house begins to fall. Daemon, the brother he never trusted, is always kept close, but never close enough. Otto Hightower whispers poison, and Daemon lashes out, and the king banishes him. But here's the real what if. Why didn't Viserys ever make Daemon his hand? Daemon's flaws, his impulsive, reckless, prideful ways could have sharpened Viserys' softness. Probably the reason why he didn't make him his hand, but it's also something that might have been tempered if he got the recognition that he so wants from Viserys. His compassion, Viserys' compassion, could have also anchored Daemon's chaos. Instead, their distance just festers into resentment. The confrontation over Daemon's infamous words about Viserys' dead son is like the tipping point, and it's also the point where Viserys gets cut by the throne. So it's like maybe the throne telling him, you've made a mistake here, you should bring Daemon in instead of pushing him away. Daemon is too proud to deny it, too bitter to apologize, but also there's oddly a sincerity in his voice when he says it. But anyways, Viserys is a tragic figure. I give this episode an 8.8 out of 10. Viserys isn't evil. He's not incompetent. He's just kind of human, and it's a tragedy what happens, and also fascinating to watch.